Good morning and welcome to Dartmoor. And in this video, I'm going to tell you once again why I love Dartmoor so much. And I'm going to do that by taking landscape photographs of this beautiful location here. And then after that, I'm going to explore the area around here and I'm going to find some of the things that make Dartmoor so fascinating. I set my alarm this morning for 4:45. Now, no one sets their alarm for 4:45 in the morning, especially on a Sunday, unless there's a very good reason to do so. And the reason I do that is so I can get up onto Dartmoor really early and capture my landscape photographs. And this morning, those photographs are going to be of East Mill Tor. I'm just on the northern edge of East Mill Tor, and I'm hoping I'm going to get some beautiful morning light, which is going to help me create my photographs. Because for me, that's the exciting bit of coming up here first thing in the morning, is watching that sun come above the horizon and seeing what it does to the landscape. So I'm going to get my camera out and then I'll talk you through how I'm going to photograph this scene. This, without a doubt, is my favourite spot on East Mill Tor. Perhaps one of my favourite spots on Dartmoor to photograph. For me, this is kind of quintessentially Dartmoor. It has all the elements that I look for in a photograph of Dartmoor. So how I'm going to compose the shot, so I've got this lovely foreground here, got this Dartmoor grass here. Now it's just in spring, but it's still got its winter colours on, so it's still a little bit golden in colour there, so that should hopefully catch the morning light. And then I've got this pool of water here, and this makes a really interesting foreground subject. So I'll use a nice wide angle lens to get as much of that in as possible, make that nice and bold in the frame. And then I'm going to use a polarizer here on the front of my lens, and that will help me control the reflections on the water. And then as I move out there, you've got the part of East Mill Tor there, that really interesting rock stack there with all its lines through it. And as the sun comes up, that will cast light over that and transform that from a hunk of granite into something a lot more interesting. And then as we move further out, we've got the rolling hills of Dartmoor, which, it's a classic view there. So that's all I'm looking to get into this photograph. One photograph should do it. In fact, the sun is just coming up above the horizon, so I better get this camera on the tripod and I'll take this shot. That was one of those dawn shoots where it's incredibly exciting, but also incredibly nerve-wracking. I had to wait quite a bit of time before I saw the sun on my main subject of the tour and the grasses in the foreground there. The sun came up, but it didn't come up quite enough. It was stuck behind a little bit of cloud, so I wasn't getting any light in the landscape. And then it would come up a bit further, and another cloud would come over, and it would play this dancing game, and you could see the bits of light dancing all across the landscape, and that's really exciting. But the nerve-wracking bit was it wasn't quite on the bit that I wanted it to be on, the bit that I was photographing. But with a little bit of patience and trying to stay warm, because it is bitterly cold up here, it finally did happen and I got the light on the landscape. I'm super happy, because getting up at 4:45 in the morning and then not coming away with a photograph you're happy with is a little bit frustrating. But that's the exciting thing about photographing Dartmoor. You're never quite sure how it's going to turn out. But fortunately for me, it's been a good morning. But the adventure doesn't stop here. I'm going to go and explore this area to find out what else there is that makes this place so interesting and so fascinating. So why don't you join me and we'll go and take a look. Not walked far from where I was capturing those photographs, but this small change in elevation has really opened up the views, and I can see for miles. I've got big chunks of blue sky. I've still got clouds rolling off the hills there. It's really atmospheric, but the views are tremendous. I can see all the rolling hills there and the beautiful colours. It just makes me want to go walking for miles and miles. It's no wonder this is one of my favourite areas of Dartmoor to visit. But believe it or not, I'm actually standing on something really interesting. So I'm gonna nip down there and I'll show you what it is. I was just standing up there, but that's not just a small hill. That is actually an old military observation point. And that's because East Mill Tor is located in the Oakhampton military zone. For years and years, and even today, the military use Dartmoor as a training area. And that would have been one of their old observation points. And as you saw up there, they would have had commanding views of the surrounding landscape. Now, there were up to, I think, 26 of these observation points dotted about Dartmoor. Obviously this one's no longer in use, it's all been stoned up, but if you get right close up and you can have a little look inside, you can just about see some of the concrete. But also there's this green metal box here, and there's lots of these dotted about Dartmoor as well. And this is actually a military telephone point. So there's miles and miles of telephone cable that some poor person had to lay, of course. And so you find these all dotted about. Now, not much good for your mobile phone. You can't plug in here. This is strictly for the use of the military. So if you ever see these green boxes, you'll know exactly what they're for. Right, something else I want to show you as well. So let's go take a look at that. I thought I'd show you this. It's an old clapper bridge. I mean, clapper bridges are kind of iconic on Dartmoor. There's a lot of them about. And while this might not be the most attractive of clapper bridges because it's got a tarmac road across, it's still a great example of early engineering. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you. I've got something else to show you. Come on. This here is a boundary stone, and once you know about them, you'll see them everywhere. They're all over Dartmoor. But I've never seen one quite like this before. Normally you've got some lettering on one side to indicate one half of the boundary and some lettering on the other side to indicate the other half of the boundary. But this only has one set of lettering and it's on 3 different sides. We've got OPB, which stands for Oakhampton Parish Boundary. So that's quite unusual, I think. I've certainly never seen one like this, but keep an eye out for them. They're all over Dartmoor. You'll see them marked in the OS maps with BS. I just thought it was quite interesting. I was walking along the road there and I saw that. I thought I'll come up and have a look. And it's quite unique. I've never seen one like this before. Anyway, I must get on and show you the next thing. Now this is what I wanted to come and see. This is the Target Railway, another piece of military history right here on Dartmoor. I've seen it on the OS maps a number of times and I've always wanted to come and see it, so I'm really excited to finally be here. And I'm amazed about what's still here. The railway line is still in place. There's even a point here. There's a loop here, and at the other end where I was walking there's another loop, so I can imagine the railway could go round, down that straight bit, loop back up and come back up, so you could just keep going round and round. And that straight bit there, that's where they would have done the target shooting, I would imagine. There's a mound of earth, so I would imagine that the train will go down there and the mound of earth would protect the train from any stray bullets, and the targets would sit up above that mound of earth there, and over there I think that's where they do the shooting from, and they could shoot the targets as it moved along the railway line, and it would just keep going round and round. And obviously they do their maintenance and other bits and pieces in that shed. But just amazing to find this here, and so much of it intact as well. And this is the thing that amazes me about Dartmoor, not just the photographic locations and the grandeur of those sunrises, but it's all this history that's just lying about, and it just makes the experience of being in Dartmoor that much more enjoyable. I'm so glad I finally got a chance to look at Target Railway, and of course looking at all those other things along the journey this morning as well. I find it all really very interesting. I hope you found it interesting as well. But you also may be asking the question, what has any of this to do with photography? Well, for me, it has everything to do with photography. Because I don't just want to come to Dartmoor and photograph its scenic viewpoints. I want to have a deeper connection with it. I want to learn more about it. I want to know more about it. And I think if you have that deeper connection with the environment, it will allow you to take better and certainly more interesting pictures. So I would certainly encourage you not only to explore Dartmoor for yourself, but explore your own local area. See what you can find out about it, see what history it has. But I do hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you have, and this would really help the channel if you leave me a comment and hit that like button, and of course, share the video as well if you want. I really would appreciate it. I do love reading all your comments. But if you do actually have an extra few minutes, I'm going to pop up some more of my Dartmoor videos as well in the corner of the screen, so do check those out. And of course, I've also got a new Dartmoor Showcase webpage as well, so there's a link for that in the corner of the screen, where I'll share some of my favourite images that I've captured from Dartmoor, so please do take the time to check that out. But I would like to thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful adventure this morning. I'm really sad it's coming to an end. I could just keep on walking for miles and miles, I have to say today, but I do need to get back. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.